It's almost 50 years. I think it's close to half a century since the introduction of PTCA by Andreas Grunzing in 1977. It's an incredible trajectory, and now we have landed up in an era of precision PCI where imaging is crucial. Dr. Dagubati has given an excellent account of the imaging, but I was interested in his last slide and the last sentence, do not rush. That's where every operator is stuck, especially in a busy cath lab. When you have large number of cases, will you do an imaging in every case? And if you are not doing an imaging in every case, what is the reason? Though it has been proven that imaging guided PCI gives a precision, we will be able to do a precision PCI or a perfect PCI with the imaging guided. So OCT is an excellent tool to perform a precision PCI. Perhaps it gives a better shorter and long-term outcome. There was a discussion here also whether there is real data which shows that it improves the long-term outcome. Right now, we don't have a conclusive data, but there are signals which shows that it will improve outcome. Logically, because of the statistical issue, we may not get a positive data because right now the post-PCI event rates are very low, and hence the comparison will be difficult to get a statistical difference. We need a large sample size. But there is every signal that if you do a better job, the result and the outcome should be better. So this is the OCT workflow, which is accepted worldwide. That is the MLD Max. And this OCT workflow is there right now with all the softwares we are using. And now Abbott is introducing the new software, the Ultron 2, on which I am talking. So what is the reason for the operator not picking up in imaging? Maybe in India, the most important thing is the cost. But in tier 3 cities, in major cath labs, there is provision for imaging in all cases. But even then, the operator may not use it in every case because he thinks that it's too long. It's not possible for me to do every case with a PCR imaging, because sometimes it is cumbersome. It may take a long time. And also for beginners, the expertise or interpretation skills are also important. So the Ultron 2 software, this is MLD Max compatible. Two phases of it. The first one is the preparatory phase where you are strategizing. You look at the morphology, you look at the sizing and the length and diameter of the stent. Right now, we have to manually do it. Look for the calcium. The previous two speakers were dealing with the calcium, and Dr. Sridhar Kasturi was telling about the calcium. But before strategizing or before deciding what is the exact strategy for the calcium modification, we need to know what type of calcium it is. Is it only a superficial calcium? Is it a deep calcium? It's a mixture of superficial and deep calcium. Is it a balloon strategy? Is it an ablative strategy? Or is it a combination strategy? So it all can be decided based on the morphology of calcium. So this software immediately gives, without our assessment, the AI can give what is the depth of the calcium, the arc of the calcium, the thickness of the calcium, and the length of the calcium. And it can measure and tell us what is the length of the stent you need, what is the diameter of the stent you need. And once you put in the stent, you look for the review where it is the max, the medial dissection, apposition, and the expansion. That also the AI can automatically tell you. So the morphology, length, and the diameter, that is the MLD. In the currently available system, the AptiView in many places, large majority of the softwares are Aptiv, and the Optron 1 is available in some of the places in India. You can see you measure it, you look for the morphology, you measure the length, you measure the diameter, it takes at least 2 minutes. This is for this is for an experienced operator. It takes at least 2 minutes or 1.5 minutes, and for a newcomer, it may take more time, and it all depends upon the technician or the team you are associated with. But if you have the AI mediated, the new Aptreon system, It takes hardly 25 seconds. Immediately it gives. You can see the orange thing that is rotating around. So this orange is the calcium. So it can give the arc of the calcium. And in the longitudinal view, you can see the orange spots that indicates the calcium. And the white arrow, you can see some at places the white arrow comes, that tells us what is the depth or the thickness of the calcium, where is the thickness maximum. And in the lower panel, you see the white dots. You can see the white dots. That white dots tells where exactly is the EL. If the white dot arc is more than 180 degrees, that means a good amount of IVL you can visualize, or you can assess the IVL, and you can find out the excellent or the optimal landing zones for the proximal and the distal part of the stent. Hardly take 25 seconds. So it's you can really rush. So the morphology, length and the diameter, the AA-enabled calcium detection can tell all these things. So this helps to determine the vessel preparation strategy within a short span of time. And it also gives us the optimal stent size, the optimal stent landing zone. We have two modes. One is the guided mode and the flexible mode. The guided mode is for a beginner. The guided mode systematically takes you through the entire MLD, and in the second half, after the stent placement, to the max. And for an experienced operator, you have the flexible mode, where one is the preparation and the second one is the review mode. The first one is for taking the decision regarding the strategy of stent placement, the strategy of calcium management, the vessel preparation and all. The second one is look at the stent, how it is placed, whether further optimization is needed or not. And the Optrion 2 is equipped with a 3D bifurcation view, which was not there in the Optrion 1. Another new addition is the flexible mode, which has a dynamic angio-synchronization. You have the angio co-registration along with the live angios also side by side. So this also gives a lot of flexibility and a lot of visual synchronization with the images and the angiography, which your eyes are more tuned with for the operator. And the flexible mode review, you can see the stent is placed. Here the color coding has changed from the previous one. The orange tells us the expansion. So if it is, that all depends upon what expansion limit you have set in the machine. If it is 90%, if it is anywhere there is less than 90% expansion, it will show the orange spot. You can see here the minimal expansion was 76%, and you can find out the spot where there is the least expansion. If the expansion is more than 90% throughout the standard segment, there won't be any orange spot. And if there is a apposition problem, if there is a malapposition, depending upon the threshold you have kept, if it is 400, anywhere there is more than 400 micron meter malapposition, it will show an orange point, it will show an yellow spot. And the 3D bifurcation view, you can see that there is a difference. You can see it's a distal cross, but it is reverse than that in the Aptiv software we are using. The proximal is on the left side and the distal is on the right side, just opposite to that what we are using right now. That I think is the only one which we have to get acquainted with, because we are used to the previous view. The 3D bifurcation view can get side by side, the stent without the wire and the vessel, and the stent with the wire in, and also the angiography at that particular point. Then checking the expansion, I've already mentioned about checking the expansion, and you can see the yellow spots. Yellow spots here indicates malapposed area. So it all depends. Here the apposition limit was 300 micron meter. So the areas where there is more than 300 micrometer malapposition, it shows the yellow spots. And those which is the area where it is set above the set threshold is shown in the yellow. So what are the differences between the current Aptiv software and the Ultrion software? The apposition is highlighted in the yellow, the struts only in the expanded lumen profile. The rendered views, the rendered stent is not there in the new software. You have the lumen profile only. And the expansion options, you can see the plaque modification depends upon the calcium that is well detected by the AI, and the exact information what we needed is given in 25 seconds time. The fly-through is available, 3D bifurcation is available, and the co-registration is there. You'll have the minimal stent area. You'll have the one problem is the stent patterns cannot be recognized. The currently available system, and a seasoned operator can tell exactly which stent is put. If whatever stents he has been regularly putting, you can find out which company's stent is that. That is not possible in the new software. And the orientation is different. The proximal will be left and the distal will be right. That is totally different from the current system. And the automatic EEL detection, which is quite useful for the operator, and the lumen diameter values also can be there. So this is one OCT guided PCI in a calcified lesion, the angiography after rotablation, then after the stent optimization. Angiographically, the excellent result. So to get this result, we needed the OCT guided PCI, and you can see the OCT, which is the pre-procedural OCT where we do all the planning. What is the calcium? How much calcium? Is it a deep calcium? Is it a superficial calcium? What is the length and arc of the calcium, and what is the depth of the calcium? In which area you can see the EEL well, where should be the proximal landing zone, where should be the distal landing zone, so what is the total stent length required. All these can be made out even now, but it takes a long time. You can see that it may take at least 1.5 minutes for all these measurements. So you can see how cumbersome it is, and why in a busy lab, many operators sometimes when they are too busy, when there is time constraint, they avoid doing an OCT guided PCI. So you have to move the cursor, put it in the area where this maximum, the maximum diameter stenosis, find out the area where the EAL is well visible, and then decide on the landing zone, then the stent length. You can see we are trying to calculate the stent length, try to find out the area where the landing zone should be an optimal landing zone. So all these things are, even now it's calculable, but it takes a long time. And this is the post-PCI. The post-PCI optimization, here the color coding is different. You can see the entire stent area which is white. Had there been any malapposition, it would have been red. Areas of malapposition will be red. Right now in the current system, we don't have any color coding for the expansion index or the expansion. So under expansion, you have to make it visually, but no color coding. So there is no guidance for it. Here also, you have to look at the expansion by using the standard usage with the Illumin 4 criteria. So this also is taking time. But if you go with this Aptrion, you can see quickly, within a fraction of maybe around 20 seconds, this is the post-PCI, it gives the entire thing. You can see some amount of orange spot. That orange spot in the luminal, that is the longitudinal view. That orange spot means some area of under expansion, and that under expansion is 81%. 81% is acceptable, but 90% will be a better thing. And you can see the yellow spots, there is a massive malapposition in the left main. So this is in a much faster way. Actually the machine is in fact rushing, but we get the actual data, whatever data we require. So imaging seems to be an excellent tool for a precision PCI. There are certain factors which prevents the operator from doing PCI, and these limitations can be minimized with the use of the new Aptrion software. So these are the final questions I may ask myself. Are you really impressed with the Ultrion 2? I'm impressed with the Ultrion 2, sorry. Will it help to do more OCT guided PCI? It should, because the time constraints when be taken away, it's easy, and sometimes the interpretation is maybe much better than a human interpretation. AI can do a better job in some cases. Will this application improve the patient care? If we can provide more precision PCI, it must improve the outcome. And will it be of a real help to a beginner in OCT? It must be a real help to a beginner in OCT. Thank you. Thank you for your patient listening.